Imagine for a second that you were an expert on a topic and that you have known everything about that topic for years, and that you consider yourself to be the smartest, most skilled, and most intellectually gifted of any person who's ever interacted with the topic. Maybe you might find yourself in a position similar to me, Goku Boy, Vector Bubble. Welcome to my video. I'm here to debunk the fallacy that Goku Boy is bad at games. This anti-narrative that has been developing in my comment section. You people have pissed me off for the last time, and after my long hiatus, I'm back. And I'm back to prove all of you people wrong. For some reason, people don't seem to believe that it's possible to know everything about animation, movies, and cartoons, and animated pictures, and video games at the same time. Maybe even a little anime. But I'll have you know that I happen to be an expert on all of these topics once and for all. To prove to you that I am skilled at video games, I have decided to take on several self-imposed challenges. I am not doing this to get views. I am doing this for revenge against you, the person watching this video. If you don't doubt me, send this video to people you know who have said bad things about me. Otherwise, well, let's just say I know my way around a creepypasta. To do this, to accomplish this goal of showing you ignorant people that I am good at games, I have decided to play several games and create a self-imposed challenge in each of them that I deemed suitable to my skill level. To illustrate to you how good I am at games, I will be showing you just how easy self-imposed challenges are for me and my mind. I tried to play Super Mario without jumping. I tried to beat the entirety of Super Mario 1 for the Nintendo console without jumping once. And while I do think that I understood the principles behind this challenge, and that I was very skilled in the game of Super Mario Bros., I found myself unable to pass the first obstacle because I was unable to. It was not scientifically plausible. You are just factually obligated to be destroyed by the first threat on the road. This is a great example of bad game design. Shigeru Miyamoto specifically structured the level to make it impossible to play the game that way that I and many other people on this planet want to play it. This was very unfortunate, as I thought that this would be a very entertaining challenge to record. However, after about 30 minutes of attempting this challenge, I simply had to give up. I couldn't find any solutions to this. Not to mention, I had wasted hours recording one screen of the game, and my computer was beginning to fill up and swell full of all the big files. The next game I tried, of course, was Mr. Bomberman for the Super Nintendo Entertainment Systems, and I tried to be a match against very hard CPU Bomberman players without placing a single bomb. However, I quickly realized that this challenge would be impossible. It would be impossible to defeat all 4 CPU players without placing even a single bomb. It wasn't going to happen. Inconceivable. Mr. Bomberman is yet another shining example of terrible game design that would often plague and eventually destroy this dark age of gaming. Then I moved on to one of the most classic and interesting game of all times, that being Pong 1 for the Atari 2600, baby. This game proved itself to be an interesting game for self-imposed challenges. I could play the game without looking at the screen. I could play the game without hitting the ball once. However, the challenge that spoke musically into my ears, directly into my mind, was this. I decided to go with a challenge where I would not move the paddle even once. This did not seem to be possible after many calculated tries, so I gave up on the challenge. However, I believe nonetheless that this game has fantastic game designs in it. The noises and the graphics make it very easy to see what the gameplay is doing. I moved on next to my second favorite game of all time, that being Dr. Mudo for the Nintendo GameCube. I know this game inside and out, so when I decided to take on one of the more rigorous challenges, this was to beat the game without transforming into a rat. Even once, I spent quite a bit of time planning in advance how I would complete this challenge. I set out several routes that would take through the game, several glitches I could use. All this was a waste of time because I couldn't start the game without transforming into a rat. So I gave up and I moved on to my next game, which was my second favorite game of all time, Street Fighter 2 for the Nintendo console. You all know it. This game was very close to my heart and represents hours of childhood fun, so of course I would take it on. The number one challenge for someone at my skill level, and that was to complete the game without using a single attack. At first, I considered that this might be possible by grabbing the opponent. However, as I learned through researching the topic extensively, I checked Wikipedia, I checked GameFAQs, I checked Reddit, I checked 4chan.b, I looked for any evidence and research about fighting styles. Judo, sumo wrestling, basketball. These fighting styles all indicated that throwing was a type of attack. Grabbing and throwing your opponent is a type of attack, and that is indisputable. I will literally not accept any arguments otherwise. Period. I proved it beyond a shadow of a doubt. I proved that throwing is a type of attack, and that none of these people believe me. None of these people that play Super Street Fighter and do self-imposed challenges believe me when I tell them about how throwing is an attack. It causes damage to your opponent, and therefore it is an attack. I'll be releasing in a video I made on the topic later. Of course, unfortunately, I wasn't able to defeat any opponents, pure to this personal belief and principle. I tried numerous other challenges over the courses of 3 months, and I recorded hours of footage of each of these challenges, including Donkey Kong 64. I tried to beat it without touching any bananas. I tried to beat Tetris Attack without getting a single Tetris. That one really pissed me off. I tried to beat Ty the Tasmanian Tiger without throwing a single boomerang. I tried to beat Deadliest Catch Sea of Chaos without missing a single crab pot, even though I hate that show and those who watch it. I tried to beat Omar Sharif's bridge without playing a single card with a number on it. I tried to beat Suivo's world without collecting any cans of tuna. I tried to beat 102 Dalmatians with their puppies to the rescue without saving any dogs. Unfortunately, I am very afraid of dogs, and just the game forces you to play as the dog. I dare say it was a doggy disaster. I tried to beat Sparky vs. Glutters without popping any blue Glutters. I tried to beat the Land of Enchantment Charma without chaining together a Charma combo, and I challenge anyone to try that one, bastards! I tried to beat Madden's 22 without tackling. I tried to beat Battlefield Heroes just by convincing the enemy team to surrender. I tried to beat the 12 Labors of Hercules 13 without employing any slaves. I tried to beat Cooking Mama without cooking. I tried to beat PC Pup Splat and the Cat Double Pack without using the Install Shield Wizard. I tried to beat Super Snail Jump and Run without jumping or running. This one turned out easier than I thought, but still seemed impossible. I tried to beat Klonoa Beach Volleyball without spiking the ball. And yes, new subscribers might recognize me as the man who pioneered the Kingdom Hearts 2 No Goofy run, and failed. After this long, arduous, long journey of trying to create a self-imposed challenge worthy of my channel, I eventually settled on my number 2 favorite game of all time, Math Blaster for the Windows personalized computer. This game was dear to my heart and represented one of the games that I played. Math Blaster helped me get through a very difficult time in my life, for which it will always be near and dear to my heart. The gameplay, the music, the visuals, the gameplay, the sprite work, it's very educational. I recommend it to my younger viewers. It's a fantastic game, when I was little, this game taught me to love math problems and the power of edutainment, which I believe is what led me to choose a career in YouTube creation. So I thought, what if I attempted the challenge of trying to beat the game without doing any mathematics? Of course, obviously, how little I knew. Now in the video, I'd like to just take a moment to just say, if you like the video, and slap that bell icon, and make sure to leave a comment telling me what you think. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, please make sure to share it with a few other like-minded and intellectual curious friends or members of society you know. Now back to my challenge. Now first I had to wrap my head around the problem of making it so that I wouldn't instantly and automatically solve any of the mathematical problems thrown at me. If I were to even witness a math problem with my eyes, my brain would instantly solve it, disqualifying me from my own challenge. This wouldn't be an issue normally, because my intense concentration usually allows me to ignore any of the things that I see selectively, like a shrimp. However, after 6 long-hour run, the exhaustion and fatigue might get to me, causing me to perhaps glimpse some math problems, which I therefore would solve in a jiffy, ruining my challenge forever. I guess it is true what they say. Not everyone who wanders is lost. I thought about this by covering the upper half of my eyes so that I wouldn't see the top of the screen. However, this didn't work because I couldn't get the blindfold to fit around my head. I tried a different blindfold, but I couldn't breathe. I instead decided to just not look at the problems. If I didn't look at any of the math problems on the screen, I wouldn't accidentally solve them mathematically or on purpose. Next, I had to figure out how to beat the challenge in the game without doing any mathematics. Now, unfortunately, many of the challenges in the game are about numbers, and adding numbers together and multiplying numbers together and dividing numbers under other numbers and subtracting numbers, which is just the opposite of adding. And many of these things I consider to be mathematics. This required me to do a lot more research. I went on Wikipedia, I went on Reddit, I went on 4chan, and Stack Overflow. However, it was difficult to find any. I then came to the conclusion that perhaps the loophole that I am looking for is that counting upward from 0 is not a mathematical operation. Counting is not math, and it's simply a means of storing an integer number numeral in your brain by increasing a number procedures. Babies know how to count the babies upward. They don't know how to multiply 5 by 5, unlike me. I haven't tested this on a baby, but I intend to. I can use this trick that counting is not mathematics to perhaps beat many of the levels, the ability to count. Especially teenagers are especially bad at math. I can keep track of the number of numbers that I've collected. I need to solve the math problem areas. For example, this allows me to limit what would normally be an infinite number of attempts to a finite number of attempts, because I can simply incrementate the number upward until I get the correct answer. I was able to surpass many of the challenges in the early game using this method. Of course, many of the challenges required time-sensitive creation of mathematical solution. This made the game much harder for me, and the challenge that much harder. I simply had to use trial and error over and over and over and over and over and over again until I could beat the levels by sheer chance. You'll not believe this. When the statistical probability of beating the level became too low, this became a problem because statistics is a form of math. I was actually not allowed to consider the statistical probability of anything, so I simply continued doing things over and over and over and over again. For the sake of the integrity challenge, unaware of how long it might take. I spent at least 40 days on this challenge. I managed to get to some point after mission 6. This was astounding to me because I was making a lot of progress in the game. There were only 52 missions in the game, much like the number of playing cards in a deck of playing cards. Just one card for each mission. A card that I would have to play. I knew for sure that I could beat it. Unfortunately, I noticed the problem as I was progressing through the game. Despite counting most of the time, I began to inadvertently infer the answers to the math problems. I was beginning to notice patterns outside of the mathematics patterns that would lead me to the answers. Unfortunately, this is considered math. Finding the answer to math problem is the different from stumbling upon the answer. I've researched this on Wikipedia. My longtime fans will know that I'm a no bullshit kind of guy, and once you realize that all of gaming, hell, all of the world is merely comprised of mathematical factoids and equations all the way down to the sunk molecular level, and as such, a sufficiently advanced mind might be able to predict all future events merely by adding together molecules in a DNA cell, or subtracting the number of stars in Milky Way. Furthermore, someone who has spent a lot of time conducting critical analysis of film and gaming might inadvertently acquire this ability subconsciously, doomed forever to be able to predict Nintendo reveals and Marvel post-credit scenes to 95% accuracy. While I know many of you out there would insist on something childish and imbecilic, like if you are not consciously doing mathematics, you are not really doing mathematics, I must respectfully and angrily disagree with you. Any thought of continuing this challenge under fake pretenses, knowing what I know now, made me sick to my tummy. My fanbase is one of the top 50 most valued items in the world, and I would never do anything to betray them. Trust me, I know what it is like to be betrayed. However, this left me in quite the pickle, as I have also promised, due to my hatred of canceling culture, to never cancel a video off my platform. The only way I'd be able to finish my challenge would be if I found a way to wipe my most recent memories. So I went to the hospital. I know they're normally only allowed to wipe memories off of criminal minds and maniacs, but I was ready to do whatever it takes to get them to carry out the procedure on me. However, just I was about to mentally influence the nurse using the persuasive techniques I learned from a cool video called How to Learn James Bond Persuasive Techniques, linked in the description, I realized something. I didn't want to erase the fond memories I had with Math Blaster. I did not want to lose my fond memories of playing Math Blaster as a child with a matured mind. After hours and hours of trying to get out of this predict I'm in, writing everything down, typing hours of everything into my computer, using every program in the LibreOffice suite to try and come up with some way out. I simply had to give up. I even tried discussing the problem with both of my parents, both of which have been in Mensa in the past, to see if there were any solutions that they could come up with. Sadly, they did not respond to my email due to willful ignorance on their part. Having bested me, the self-imposed challenge had gone beyond self-imposition. This challenge was imposed by a higher power, a power that didn't want me to beat any game under any circumstances. Just editing the video and realized that this statement could be construed as if I believe in religion. That is not the case. Back to the video. I have decided to give up on making gaming challenge videos. I understand that many of my viewers might be emotionally shattered by this. This is something that I've been talking a lot about doing a lot. This could have been the thing to finally make me big at YouTube, but I still have full intentions of becoming big at YouTube. I understand that my viewers might be disappointed, but they need to know that they're wrong to be disappointed. They need to understand that overcoming a challenge has nothing to do with how good it feels to watch the challenge on a YouTube account. I've disproven their incorrect beliefs once before, and I'll do it again. I've done more research about this topic than you would dream of, so please think before you try to disagree with me. I won't say this again. Go watch my other video if you don't believe me. I will not be attempting self-imposed challenges in the videos in the future. This is very frustrating and annoying for me to attempt, and frankly, I am very upset with my viewers for making me do this. I was building up my creative energy so I could finally work on a project that's very important to me, and you forced me to squander all of it on these few vile attempts at creating a good video game video. I am starting to think that making a video game content in general is just a frustrating and useless pursuit. I would like for my viewers to maybe consider this before they make comments on my videos. Additionally, please be aware that my Patreon account has been shut down due to violations of trust and safety. I believe one of my donors has perpetrated this, and if you have any information, if you do, who did it, please let me know. They will be punished. If you still wish to donate to me, please consider hand-delivering the money to my address. My video editor will now explain instructions on how to reach my house. You're welcome for this video. Bye.
First, you have to go to your nearest airport and get a ticket to travel to the Denver International Airport. Then you have to rent a car. Then you have to get onto I-70 West. Head north to Pano Boulevard. Keep right to continue on Terminal E. Follow the signs for Airport Terminal E. I hear it's hard to miss. Use a left lane to turn slightly left onto the parking lot at Terminal E. Keep left at this point and then continue onto Pano Boulevard. You should see some signs for the airport exit or I-70. Use the left two lanes to merge onto I-70 West towards Denver. Keep left to stay on I-70 West. Take exit 90 for Colorado 13 North toward Rifle and Meeker. Turn right onto Colorado 13 North. Turn right onto White River Avenue. Turn right onto Colorado 13 North / Government Road / Railroad Avenue. Turn left onto Colorado 64 West. This is not to be confused with the Nintendo 64 games console. Turn right onto Brontosaurus Boulevard. Please keep an eye out for the Dinosaur Rocky Mountain Cannabis Dispensary. Head west onto Brontosaurus Boulevard toward Ceratosaurus Circle. Turn left onto Stegosaurus Freeway. Turn right onto Platyosaurus Place. Turn right at the first cross street onto 6th Street. My house should be obvious. It's on this street. Please do not go too far because you might drive past Goku Boy's grandma's house. She gets very upset if she gets woken up by loud car noises. Leave the money in the mailbox. Do not lift the flag. Because Goku Boy's parents might check the mail and he would have to answer a lot of questions if there was a check in the mailbox.